and welcome back to Crypto Saving Experts, where we talk about the latest cryptocurrency news and take a look at the markets so that we all know exactly what is happening. My name is Jess and we do these live streams every single weekday, so please make sure to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. We've had some dramatic changes in the markets this week and we need to go over all of that because it's been absolutely crazy. Good morning, or good afternoon I should say, to everybody in the chat today. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, Raven Trading, Peter Dell, Jay Mizzle, PG and Rob as well. Thank you very much for tuning in there. Let's take a look at what's going on in the markets first of all. So Bitcoin is down 4.2% within the last 24 hours. Ethereum is down slightly as well, 3.68. Ethereum is actually managing within the last 24 hours to hold up against Bitcoin. Since this news came out that the SEC were looking at Ethereum being a security, it's been outperforming Bitcoin, which is a little odd, but we were at dramatically low levels, so it's nice to see we have had some sort of bounce here. If we take a look at some altcoins, we've got Solana down almost 10%. Let's take a look at that quickly. I know a lot of you in the chat are Solana fans. This has been performing very well. It is currently down though, around 18% from that yearly high there. The whole market's having a little bit of a pullback right now, so this can be expected. Overall, though, the trajectory has been very good since back in September 2023. If we take a look at what else has been going on here, we've got Arbitrum down over 7%. Huobi's token, that's the centralized exchange, is down almost 7%. We've got, in terms of biggest gainers, Phantom performing very well, up 13%. In fact, we can skip to this article here where you can see Phantom is the best performing non-meme token of the past 30 days. So Phantom's impending Sonic upgrade, expected to boost transaction processing speeds, may have galvanized investor interest in the cryptocurrency. So the token has rallied over 190% in 4 weeks. That's almost a 2x for a top 100 token. That's insanely quick for that to happen. 4 weeks. So the upgrades testnet has demonstrated faster transaction processing speeds and finality times. We can see here the layer 1 blockchain, the native token has gained over 190%. Phantom's price has surged from 40 cents to $1.16. In the same period, Bitcoin has rallied about 28%. So we can see here that while TPS measures the number of transactions the blockchain can process per second, time to finality indicates the time it takes for a transaction to become irreversible after it is confirmed and added to the blockchain. So we can see there the differences. Now, we are seeing scalability upgrades across many of the different platforms right now. We've already seen Ethereum have its Denken upgrade recently. We are now looking at Phantom having upgrades, all of them trying to become the best blockchain that has the lowest transaction fees and the fastest transaction speeds. So they're all competing there, and we are seeing improvements across the board when it comes to the scalability of these blockchains. So Phantom is performing very well off the back of that upgrade there, or well, kind of in expectations of that upgrade there, I should say. ICP also performing well, up over 7%. We've got APT up over almost 6%. So we are seeing some big fluctuations in the markets here, with Solana down, Doge up, we've got TON up once again. TON has been on a tear to the upside. Let's take a look at that quickly. TON USDT, let's take a look at this. Here we go. So this has been a massive move to the upside, starting off March, ending off February almost at $2.16, rallying all the way up 100% to $4.33. That's insane price action within a very short period of time, within 23 days. So similar price action to Phantom there. Absolutely insane price movement. So I hope everybody is making some nice profits in the markets right now. Let's take a look at what's going on in the news today, though. So we have here on the, before we get into the news, I want to take a look. Sorry, I was just getting a message from the Crypto Saving Expert team. There we go. Let's take a look at some key liquidation levels, because this is really important. So when we're looking at this heat map, you can see that when there are solid levels of yellow, that is a price point that if Bitcoin wicks that point, it means a huge amount of traders are going to get liquidated. So at this, when we're looking at this chart, we can see that these yellow levels are going to act like a magnet. So the highest magnet that we have right now is at around $67,600, acting like magnet, and it could potentially pull the Bitcoin price to the upside. I think this chart is a lot more useful when there's less volatility in the markets. Right now, there is a huge amount of volatility. So looking at the 24-hour chart here isn't incredibly helpful. So let's take a look at what's going on the bigger time frames here and see if there are any key levels. Last time I looked, there were not, but we can confirm this here. There's not a huge amount of key levels on these bigger time frames. So this chart isn't something that we need to be watching too closely at this point in time. I think this chart is really important when we're looking at the 24-hour or the 3-day chart, if Bitcoin is kind of having that lower level of volatility. But right now, volatility is super high, and therefore it's not something we need to be watching too closely right now, but it's something good to be keeping an eye on. Okay, sorry, I was just sending a message to the CSE team. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the live chat here. So good morning, good afternoon, everybody in the live chat. Peter Dell says, question with these high cap coins, will they move heaps like lower market caps? Well, this is what we need to think about in the markets, because typically, obviously, a smaller amount of money needs to flow into a low cap coin for it to perform incredibly well. For Bitcoin to 2x, we need like $1 trillion flowing into it. Whereas for a low cap coin to perform well, like a 5 million cap coin, $5 million is all it needs. There's a huge difference there. Obviously, there's some discrepancies between the total supply and the market cap and things like that. But there's a lot more money needs to flow into these high cap coins to see the big rewards. However, there's the risk reward ratio that you need to think about. The higher the market cap, the likely the higher liquidity, and therefore typically the lower the risk. And when we're looking at low cap coins, we need to consider liquidity, whether you're going to be able to sell your tokens. We need to look at the risks involved. We need to look at the whales, because there's likely going to be huge, there's more chance there's going to be big whales that could dump their bags and have a significant impact on the price. And we don't have that as such when it comes to the high cap coins, because there aren't many people that hold such a significant number that would be able to dump the markets. And so when we're looking at low cap coins, yes, they can have higher rewards, but they do carry higher risks in general. So when we're looking at the cryptocurrency space, typically what we see in a bull market is that we have Bitcoin perform really well, and then high caps perform really well, and then low caps perform really well. And that is because people are rotating their profits through the markets. When we're in a bear market, people aren't investing in low cap coins. They're investing in Bitcoin and maybe some of those high cap altcoins. Then as they start to see those gains occur in the first stage of the market, they will then rotate those gains into some riskier assets, because look at the stage we're in now. People have made some nice gains off Bitcoin, and we're all saying, look, the bull market's back, and this gives us more confidence to invest in some slightly riskier investments. So that's why people are starting to turn to altcoins right now, and we will see that continue to shift as time goes on into the riskier and riskier assets. And that's when we really hit the peak. Look, like people investing in 1 million tokens $1 million market cap tokens every single day. That's like signs that we're at the end of the cycle. So there is still some brilliant opportunities with the high cap coins and with Bitcoin, I do believe. Obviously, if we get the right low cap coins, it can be incredible and we can make huge gains. But we do need to remember that not every single low cap coin is going to perform well. They are higher risk. So make sure to diversify if you are looking at that market, and don't just go all in on one, because the chances of you finding a 100x is slim, but when you do, it's very successful. And that's why that Martini guy, our CEO, always takes the strategy of investing in a range of different altcoins, and then like doing your due diligence, investing in a range of different altcoins, and then hopefully 1 or 2 or 3 of them will perform well out of the 10, and they will make up for the others, because they can perform really, really well when they want to, the low cap coins there. So I hope that makes sense. Let's take a look at what's going on here in the live chat. Peter Dell says, has the bull market really started? It does not seem like it has yet. It doesn't seem like it has yet? What do you mean it doesn't seem like it has yet? If we take a look at BTC, we were trading down at $17,000 just how many months ago? 16 months ago. If we take a look at this chart, I don't know how you're looking at this and saying the bull market has not started. That bear market was one of the most painful things I have ever experienced, and we are now up an entire 320% or 380% if you go from low to high. I would class this as a bull market. I don't know how else you would classify a bull market. We are in the bull market here, and what you may be referring to is the altcoin season that we typically see at this stage in the markets. Typically, altcoins will start to really outperform Bitcoin and really capture some of the market dominance. But what we are seeing right now is that the market dominance for Bitcoin is holding pretty nicely. Bitcoin's dominance is incredibly high. If we take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart as well, we are seeing that Ethereum hasn't been able to capture too much of the markets here. Normally at this point in time, Ethereum is starting to outperform Bitcoin, well, it did in the previous cycle, and it hasn't done so. It hasn't really started to do so yet this time around. So when this starts to happen, if this starts to happen, this is when we are more likely to see those altcoins really start to pump. But there are sectors in this space that are pumping, like the meme coin sector, but I know you don't like that one, Peter Dell. But we've also seen AI projects pump as well, and there are other sectors that will pump at some point in time. We were expecting to see this switch sooner than we are right now. So still sitting on the edge of my seat waiting for this switch to happen. Right now, there's been a huge amount of Bitcoin ETF inflows that are pumping the price of Bitcoin, keeping that dominance high and keeping the Ethereum Bitcoin chart low. Who knows when that's going to stop or if that's going to stop, and whether Ethereum can gain some of that market dominance back this time around. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the chat here. Jonathan says you can over-diversify though. Fewer assets makes it easier to manage, which has advantages for minor investors. Yes, 100% over-diversifying is also a risk. Trying to manage too many portfolio, if you have like $500 invested in like 500 assets, it's so difficult to manage. You need to be very careful about that as well. Make sure you're on top of your investments, making sure you have the time to do your due diligence. For smaller investors, like myself, I like to invest in projects that I can keep on top of. I invest in a relatively small number of projects so that I can stay on top of what's going on in the community, what's going on their Twitter profiles, and I can stay up to date with the project. If you're over diversified, then you don't have enough time to do your research on your projects, and you may miss some news that could be a sell signal that you would sell on had you heard about it, but you didn't have time to hear about it because you're too over diversified. The other thing is, if you're over diversified, you only have a very small amount of money in each one, and they need to therefore perform incredibly well for you to make some significant profits. So over diversifying is also a risk. Getting that right balance in between the two is important. We have actually done a cryptocurrency course on the Crypto Saving Expert website on how to make a strategy in the crypto space. 100% recommend you do that, because making decisions day to day is not the way to do this. This is a very emotional market. I've been in this market full time now, been working in crypto full time for the past 4 years, and I still get caught up with my emotions. I have learned that when the markets are fearful, you should be greedy, and when it's greedy, you should be fearful, and I'm very good at switching that mindset around, but there are still times where I get emotional in my portfolio, and that will make you a worse trader, investor. So what you need to do is you need to create a strategy, and you need to stick to that strategy. Otherwise, you will simply not take profits. It's easy to make a lot of money in the crypto space during a bull market. It's hard to keep hold of them. You need to be making a strategy before the bull market hits, because if you don't, I can guarantee 99% of people that don't go into an up-only mentality, do not take significant profits, and do not have anything to show for it after the bull market is over. So creating a strategy is super important, and we have written a course on that on the Crypto Saving Expert website, which is available for free users So make sure to check that out if you have not done so already. Let's take a look at what's going on in the live chat here. PG says, I prefer your strategy, Jess, more solid with less risk. Yes, I know, I do get FOMO from time to time. I am trying to diversify a little bit more, look at some low cap coins every now and then, but it's just not really my thing. Peter Dell says, will the rubbish meme coins eventually go down heaps? I mean, it depends. You're really against these meme coins, Peter Dell. They're making people a lot of money. We can't be bitter about it. They're essentially just an investment asset. If the demand is high, it goes up. If the demand is low, it goes down. It's as simple as that. It's just part of these markets at this point in time. I imagine we will have the meme coin sector maybe have a cool off period, but I'm sure it will be back at some point in time as well with some new projects entering the space. People in crypto like to have a little bit of fun and diversify in those tokens that really just depend on community, meme, and demand. If it's not your thing, obviously, you're not forced to invest into those things. But it's one of these things. A lot of these projects, yes, probably won't last forever, but there are always a few that make it out alive. Like Dogecoin, and originally it is just a meme coin. I don't really class it as a meme coin anymore. I class it as an OG coin. For example, again, SHIB. That's incredibly high market cap, likely not to go anywhere. In the next couple of years, it probably can hold that top spot. Other meme coins like Pepe, I don't even know where that is right now in terms of ranking. There are some tokens that make it out of that low cap sector and do manage to hold their value for a period of time. But for the majority of these things, people are taking a gamble on seeing the demand increase for a short period of time and trading these things very, very slowly. Jonathan says, WIF is top 50. Is it? Let's... I forgot what that ticker is for again. WIF hit top 50. Let's see. Did it hit top 50? Are you lying to me? It's gone down again. Pepe, here we go. Pepe is at 48. Dog with hat is at 59. So we can see some of these tokens perform incredibly well. Obviously, you can still make it into top 50 and not be around in 2 years' time. Obviously, some of these tokens can drop down to the downside, but I'm not wishing it upon people. These investors have made their decision. In terms of what's going on with meme coins right now, the space is absolutely crazy. I think it is slightly oversaturated here. We've seen this over and over again. We did see this about 6 months ago. The meme coin sector performed really, really well. Lots of meme coins being created, performing incredibly well. Eventually, they do come down because, as I said, meme coins are just dependent on demand and community and meme. When that demand goes down, when the hype drops, the meme coins tend to drop with it. So they are just a sector that's performing well right now. I'm not investing into any of these with long-term plays. I'm investing into them I'm not investing into them, but if I was, it's definitely short-term plays for me. I'm not too interested in getting involved in these for the long term. But let's take a look at what else is going on in the chat here. People are talking about orange in the chat. Sorry, I'm getting a phone call now. Let's see what's going on. I've just started the music up again. Let's try that again. Can you hear the music? Here we go. We're back in action. Let's take a look at what else is going on here. We've gone on to meme coins, and I don't think we even had an article about meme coins here. Let's take a look at what's going on in the Fear and Greed Index here. Can I see the chat? Can I see the chat? Here we go. We're in the chat. Fear and Greed Index is at 75. So we are in greed. We have dropped down again, which is very good to see. PG says, personally, if I held just Bitcoin and Ethereum and touched nothing else, I would be a millionaire today rather than 4 years of stress and no more money than when I started. I want to give up stress. I want to give up stress too. I do want to give up stress too. It's hard to be involved in this industry and hold on to your guns though and stick to Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's so tempting to diversify a little bit. But I do agree with you there, PG. Let's take a look at what else is going on here. We've got 28 days until that Bitcoin halving. And we have some news about the SEC wanting to classify Ethereum as a security. So let's take a look at what's been going on here. Essentially, a couple of days ago, we heard that the SEC wants to classify Ethereum as a security. And we were saying, how can you after 10 years of Ethereum being live, decide that it's a security? Is this because it had an initial coin offering originally when it launched? Because that has sometimes been kind of something that helps us categorize assets, or is it because it's changed to proof of stake? We went through the whole definition of what the Howey test is in yesterday's stream, so I'm not going to bore you with that today again. But if you have not seen yesterday's stream, make sure to check it out. I think it was a very useful stream, if I do say so myself. Essentially, we use the Howey test to determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity. The SEC are saying now that that Ethereum is a security and therefore it should be regulated by the SEC. However, the CFTC regulates commodities and they've said it's a commodity and it should be regulated by them. So the two regulators are really overlapping at this point in time, and it's not clear what we are going to be seeing in the future. We are currently seeing the some investigations here to find out what classification we should give to Ethereum. Now, what does this mean for the Ethereum price? First of all, Ethereum's ETFs more and more likely to be delayed as time goes on. We've already seen with these Ethereum ETFs, the chance of them being launched, according to analysts, has dropped to 35% before this investigation began. But the filings will just be completely different. Let's see what's going on here. Lee says Gary's second attempt at looking like he's doing something, bless his heart. Honestly, I was having quite a nice time not talking about Gary Gensler on these live streams, but he's back at the front of the news, and we do need to talk about it once again here. So essentially, if Ethereum is a security, it needs to be regulated by the SEC. Another massive effect would be that centralized exchanges would not be able to list securities because they are not registered securities exchanges on the whole. We did go through all of this in yesterday's stream, so make sure to check it out. The reason I wanted to pick it up today is because Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin after this news. And in yesterday's stream, I said the SEC have labeled tokens as securities before. We saw them label a number of tokens as securities when they were making filings against centralized exchanges last year. And those altcoins seem to just perform as if the news hadn't happened. Those initial movements to the downside, and then they just performed okay. And that's what Ethereum has been doing in the last 48 hours as well. So it's really good to see this price movement. One thing I wanted to look at here, which we did not mention in yesterday's stream, is Ethereum proof of work. So if we go to Ethereum proof of work, is it just Ethereum W? Here we go. USDT. Let's pull this up. So this is the original Ethereum blockchain here since the merge back in September 2022. And you can see in the last couple of days, it's not been performing so well, but I'm interested to see how this continues, because essentially what's happened is Ethereum transitioned from proof of work to proof of stake in September 2022, and this could be the reason as to why the SEC now wants to classify Ethereum as a security. There are a couple of options here. So essentially we use the Howey test to determine whether an asset is a security or a commodity. We go through all of that in yesterday's stream, so 100% please make sure to check that out. It's super important to understand what's happening in the markets right now. But because Ethereum is being labeled as a security by the SEC, the question is it because it was launched by ICO or because it had the merge? Well, if it was the merge, are people going to be moving back to the Ethereum proof of work blockchain? Are we going to see Ethereum go back to proof of work? I mean, probably not. I think that's very unlikely. The foundation went very hard on this merge, but we could see the rise of Ethereum proof of work. Essentially, when we had the merge, the blockchain split into two. We have Ethereum proof of works blockchain and the proof of stake blockchain. It was essentially like a fork. So with that merge, we've seen proof of works blockchain continue to grow. We have seen the amount of activity decrease drastically on there, but we have seen the activity grow, and we may continue to see that within the next couple of weeks as this news unfolds. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news here though, because we've not gone through the news yet today. We've got FTM, STX and APT lead as Bitcoin stalls. A selection of altcoins are rallying as the top 50 demonstrated mixed performance. We went through that in yesterday's stream. At the start of this stream, and we will take a look through this article quickly. We have seen a lot of altcoins performing really, really well within the last 24 hours. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the news here. Vulnerability discovered in Apple M series chips that could leak private keys. The vulnerability has been identified in the hardware and cannot be patched by a Mac OS update. So this is insane here. So the M series chips in Macs could be susceptible to security vulnerabilities, a flaw, a side channel allowing end-to-end key extractions when Apple chips run implementations of widely used cryptography protocol, can't be patched directly because it stems from the micro-architectural design of the silicon itself. Due to the issue with the chip itself, it cannot be fixed by Apple releasing a Mac OS update. So if we take a look here, the team of researchers in the US discovered the vulnerability and blame the attack on the DMP GoFetch. As long as the GoFetch app and the targeted cryptography app are running on the same performance cluster, even when on separate cores within that cluster, GoFetch can mine enough secrets to leak a secret key. So this is absolutely crazy. I want to know what devices these chips are in, because I think that would be good to add that to that article there. So let's take a look at this. Apple M1 is a series of ARM-based systems on a chip designed Apple and Central Processing Unit. So for its Mac desktops and notebooks and the iPad Pro and iPad Air tablets. So definitely something to be aware of. We've got lots of tweets going on about this within the last couple of hours as well. So make sure to be aware of that and do some more research on that, and make sure all your devices are secure, or you're not storing your private keys on these devices. Obviously, the best thing to do is to use hardware devices, but there's lots of different security things that we need to be aware of, and you need to keep yourself as secure as possible when you are going into the world of self-custody. In self-custody, you are in charge of your own funds, you are in charge of your own private key, and you need to be doing your own research to make sure that it is secure. Let's take a look at what else is going on in the cryptocurrency news here, though. So raising Ethereum's gas limit could cut fees by 15 to 33%, according to developers. This would be absolutely brilliant. Ethereum has had more bashing within the last couple of weeks because of its incredibly high transaction fees. We did see in the last bull market super high transaction fees from Ethereum. It made it very hard to trade Ethereum. James says don't use hot wallets. I mean hard wallets. Did I say hot wallets? I don't know what I said. So obviously in the last bull market, we saw Ethereum have incredibly high transaction fees, and we want to see that go lower. We did see the Denkin upgrade, dramatically lower transaction fees for layer 2s on the Ethereum network. In fact, we have seen Base perform incredibly well. Here we go. Base's daily volume reaches $372 million record high amid meme coin frenzy. So with meme coins performing very, very well on the layer 2s, we are also, and mixed with the transaction fees dropping for layer 2s on Ethereum, we are seeing transaction volumes increase massively, which is really, really important. But we also want to see Ethereum transaction fees drop as well. So we have Ethereum, then we have layer 2s, and then we have projects on top of it. So right now what we're seeing is the transaction fees on the layer 2s are lower, meaning the projects that are building on top of it are creating some transaction volumes here. The problem is these transaction fees are still incredibly high, and they need to be dealt with. So that's what this article is referring to, because we could see these drop by 15 to 33%, which is super important here. People come to cryptocurrency to be able to make seamless payments anywhere across the world for low fees, and on Ethereum we do not get that when the demand is high. Let's take a look at what else is going on here. So moving on from this one, Coinbase files with CFTC for Doge, Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash regulated futures. The US's largest exchange is attempting to make ground for regulated product offerings. On Wednesday, it was revealed that Coinbase's derivatives branch had filed for Dogecoin, Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash futures listings. A Twitter account named Summers posted the news and stated they filed them on March 7th, and surprisingly nobody seemed to notice. This has been news for quite a while now, pretty old news coming through here. Nobody managed to see this happening. But we're seeing futures contracts being created for Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin and Dogecoin. Hopefully they get out over the line. We already have Bitcoin futures contracts, Ethereum futures contracts. This allows us people to futures trade the value of these assets. So nice to see this. Nice to see this. This is improvements here. You will notice that all of these tokens are proof of work. So definitely in the CFTC's grounds, and to make these assets for, or accept these assets. Let's take a look at what else is going on here. CryptoPunk sells for $16.42 million, second largest in history. So on Wednesday, CryptoPunk 7804 was sold for 4,850 Ethereum, equating to $16.42 million. The NFT is one of the 9 aliens, the rarest and most sought after in the collection. So it's been sold for a huge valuation there. Congratulations to that seller. So the alien, let's take a look at this. This is the second alien to be sold in a month. So it was purchased for Punk 3100, which is a different Punk, was purchased for $16.03 million on the 4th of March. And then 3 aliens make up the total top sales, but where are the others? So there's different sales here. I think it's absolutely crazy that in 2024 people are buying punks for $16 million. How much money do you have? That is an absurd amount of money to spend on a crypto punk. These NFTs are still going crazy. As I always say, I'm a bit negatively biased towards these things because I don't understand how they can have such high value, but they do. And as I said, if you can make more money from these things, then congratulations. It's a sector that I will never understand unless we bring proper utility to it, like in gaming or real world uses, but for now, it's absolutely crazy. One thing I'd like to finish on here is Bitcoin volatility is seemingly increasing. Bitcoin sees dramatic slide below 65k over 4 hours. We've seen a lot of movements here. Volatility is incredibly high. The ETF inflows are reportedly slowing down slightly. We are seeing long traders getting wrecked from the liquidations of the movements to the downside. And we are also, originally we did see a nice movement to the upside because of the positive news when it came to the interest rates. There was the expectation that we will see movements to the downside in the near future, and that's positive for the markets, but we are now seeing some retracements here. Volatility is hitting the markets. We were only seeing upwards volatility off the back of those Bitcoin ETFs, but we're now seeing some consolidation here, which is important. Now, what we do see here, one thing that I actually do see here now, somebody said a head and shoulders pattern yesterday and I could not see it, but maybe we could be seeing one here. Maybe it's possible. Oh, wrong tool there. It's possible that we could be seeing one get created here. If we come down to this $61,722 level and see a confirmation bounce here, I'll be feeling nervous. On the other side, if we manage to see some nice correction at any point now, we could see a inverse head and shoulders on the smaller time frame. So we do need to see how this plays out. It is Friday, so it's about to be the weekend. So we might just see some sideways action here, and both of those chart patterns will be destroyed, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. But that's what's happening right now for the Bitcoin price. We're going to keep an eye on this. It's the weekend, so I'm not expecting too much in terms of levels of support. I would say this is definitely a level of support here at 61,853, and we do have some level of resistance that's running across here on the daily chart that is at around 67,860. So definitely something to be keeping an eye on. I need to jump off this right now because I've got a call in just 2 seconds, so please make sure to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification button so you don't miss the latest cryptocurrency news. That's all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all back here on Monday. Goodbye.